Hello and welcome to another edition of Diaspora Network, the program that celebrates Nigerians making remarkable strides around the world. I'm Teniola Uyitayo. On today's program, we meet Professor Akinseye Aluko, an academic and strategic leadership expert whose work spans leadership, energy, maritime studies, and sustainability. From his early years in Lagos to academic roles in the United Kingdom and now Qatar, he reflects on the values that shaped him, the importance of contributing to society, and what Nigeria must do to strengthen its education and maritime sectors. But before we hear from him, let's take a look at the latest news making headlines across the global Nigerian community. In Britain, Professor Christian Harrison has been elected the next chair of the British Academy of Management, becoming the first Black person to lead the organisation in its 40-year history. He's a professor of leadership and enterprise and director of the Centre for Leadership and Empowerment at the University of Greater Manchester. He'll take office in January 2027 and says his election demonstrates that excellence and leadership are not limited by geography or background. Team Nigeria has won the Gold Award in the Middle School Group category at the 2026 Spelling Bee World Cup in Shanghai, China. The Nigerian team, made up of Oluwadamilola Adeolu, Abdurrahman Yusuf, Chinedu Okediachi, and Mariam Yusuf, outperformed teams from Asia, Africa, the United States, China, and Canada during the competition. It was Nigeria's first appearance at the competition after the students progressed through the Nigerian and African Spelling Bee Championships. Nigerian nurse Emmanuel Ndubuisi has received a National Bravery Award after saving a patient whose head caught fire while she attempted to vape in her hospital bed. The patient was receiving oxygen treatment when the electronic cigarette caused the fire. Ndubuisi received the Cavell Star Award in recognition for his courage, professionalism, and calm response under pressure. A Nigerian-born John Adeshoye has qualified as a registered nurse in the United Kingdom at the age of 64. The father of 5 previously worked as an electronics technician in Greece before moving to Britain in 2013. He later joined Southmead Hospital in Bristol as a healthcare assistant and has now secured a position there as a registered nurse. Adeshoye says he hopes his journey will show others that they are never too old to earn a degree or begin a new career. And now a quick update from the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, as it continues its work engaging Nigerians abroad and strengthening connections back home.
Chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erewa, has reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to strengthening engagement with Nigerians living abroad to support national development. Mrs. Dabiri-Erewa gave the assurance during a courtesy visit to the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Shola Enikan-Olayi, at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. The NIDCOM chairman congratulated the ambassador on his appointment and expressed confidence in continued collaboration between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Commission to advance the interests of Nigerians in diaspora. She also highlighted the Commission's achievements and key challenges.
One of the first things we did was have a diaspora policy 2021, which guides all diaspora engagement. So in this policy is due for review 2026 after 5 years. So we're working with IM and of course the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to look at what areas need to be strengthened in the diaspora policy. We began a diaspora data mapping and portal registration. And with the NIMSI Act that has just been passed, it's made everybody's job easier. So we've met with the DG NIMSI and we're working together to enhance diaspora data portal of Nigerians in diaspora. Remittances, Your Excellencies, has actually been getting better under the renewed up agenda of Mr. President. I think the best we've been having for years. Nigerians are sending more money home, and we're glad that we've put together programs and policies that has made that even more effective. So we're glad that our advocacy programs have made us the highest in sub-Saharan Africa.
In his remarks, the minister commended the NIDCOM boss for a dedication and commitment to advancing diaspora engagement, stressing that Nigerians abroad should be seen as assets for national development rather than a consular burden.
Because for us, you are not just a daughter of the ministry, you are part and parcel of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can't talk of diaspora without foreign ministry and vice versa. So your success is our success, and we'll push and own it together. I'm also fascinated by the proposal to review the policy. Obviously, we live in a very dynamic world, and a lot of changes that we need to now reflect into new policy and even project into the future. We're more than ready to partner with you in that regard.
And now time for our special report. This week, we look at some of the Nigerians occupying the highest positions in British academia and how they are using their influence not only to lead institutions, but also to widen opportunity, mentor future scholars, and create a more inclusive university system. Let's take a look.
Professor Charles Egbu made history in 2020 when he became the United Kingdom's first black vice-chancellor.
Professor Charles Egbu, a highly respected academic leader and one of the UK's foremost experts in construction management and project leadership. He has served as Vice-Chancellor of Leeds Trinity University and has been a trailblazer in promoting diversity and excellence in higher education.
As Vice-Chancellor of Leeds Trinity University, he leads the institution's strategic direction with a focus on student experience, graduate employability, social justice, and widening opportunity. Beyond his leadership role, Professor Egbu has supervised more than 25 doctoral students and examined over 100 doctoral candidates around the world.
Education has the power to make positive change in the world. It can broaden minds, challenge assumptions, and inspire hope for the future.
At King's College London, Professor Funmi Akin has built a distinguished career focused on leadership, security, and development. She's a professor of security, leadership and development, and also serves as vice president for international engagement and service. Professor Akin founded the African Leadership Center, which works to develop a new generation of African scholars and policy leaders capable of contributing to peace, security, and development across the continent and beyond.
We're seeing some really outstanding ideas in terms of what we're dealing with on the continent of Africa and how to address them. And I think those ideas that are emerging, free-flowing thought, free-flowing ideas, are the places we need to look to in terms of some potential solutions to the current challenges we have on the continent.
At Birmingham City University, Professor David Mba is using institutional leadership to improve representation and widen opportunity within higher education. As Vice-Chancellor, he leads the university's strategic direction and is also co-chair of the Black Leaders in Higher Education Network. Professor Mba helped develop the Ethnic Representation Index, which examines the representation of ethnic minority students and staff, as well as differences in academic outcomes, with the aim of encouraging meaningful change across the university sector. At the University of Cambridge, Professor Dame Ijoma Uchebu holds another prominent leadership position in the British academia. She serves as president of Wolfson College, Cambridge, and is also Professor of Pharmaceutical Nanoscience at the University College London. Alongside her pioneering research into drug delivery and the development of new treatments, Professor Uchebu has used her leadership positions to advance equality and strengthen international academic partnerships. She previously served as UCL's Pro-Vice Provost for Africa and the Middle East and the university's Provost's Envoy for Race Equality.
And now to our guest. Professor Akinseye Aluko is an academic and strategic leadership expert with more than 16 years of experience across academia and industry. He currently serves as an assistant professor at Liverpool John Moores University in Qatar with research interests in leadership, energy, sustainability, and maritime transportation.
From his early years in Lagos, Nigeria,
to occupying key academic leadership positions in the United Kingdom, including Associate Course Director for the Oil and Gas Management and MBA Sustainable Energy Programs, and establishing himself as a scholar in Qatar, Professor Akinseye Aluko reflects on the pivotal moments that shaped his journey and the vision that continues to drive his purpose.
I was born in Lagos here, somewhere in Surulere to be precise. I attended Premier Day Nursery Primary School in Palm Avenue, and likewise I also attended Santa Maria. From there I went to Ansarudin College, and from Ansarudin College graduated and later went to Kwara State Polytechnic, where I started my tertiary education. And after Kwara Poly, I decided to go to University of Ado-Ekiti, where I had I got my BSc in economics. And at the moment, getting a BSc in Ado-Ekiti actually gave me a reason to find my route in what I want to become in life. Everything about Nigeria actually shaped me, molded my perspectives, molded my perception to life. And my parents, my dad was has always been a maritime captain. He sailed across the world, and he, has that leadership qualities in him. As a captain, definitely you need to, have those leadership qualities in you. It's not just about the profession. And I saw that in my dad, and it has given me the zeal and courage to, always aspire to become a leader someday. And my mother happens to be a businesswoman that studied in the UK and likewise worked in one of the big hotels here in Nigeria. From there, they're working class, and I understand the values of how to, become one, a leader, two, become someone responsible, and likewise, to see your person at the top of affairs or whatever you do. You have to be very, inspired to get to the top. Going to the UK, it's a privilege, like I do tell people. But first of all, one thing you need to understand is what exactly you need to define your purpose. You need to define your intentions. You need to define how you intend. After the studying, what do you intend to do? And how do you intend to do them? So you need to, as a person that is just going into the UK or probably any part of the world to study and to make something meaningful out of yourself, you need to talk about how you can add value to your society at the end of the day.
He's a senior fellow of the Higher Education Academy and a fellow of the Chartered Management Institute with research interest spanning renewable energy, maritime and crude oil transportation, SMEs, and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence. He explores the future of leadership, innovation and national development, highlighting the importance of continuous learning, visionary governance, and preparing the next generation to compete on a global stage.
We're in an era whereby AI happens to be the bone of contention. We're in an era whereby technology happens to drive any organization to the next level. So as a person or as a system, let's use the educational system in Nigeria as a yardstick. I've seen a lot of, I've seen the UK system, I've experienced it, I've seen the GCC system because I've delivered papers in different part of the GCC and likewise in Qatar. I've given presentation, I've consulted, I've been part of a consortium team for the government in recent time, this year 2026, and I've seen how things can change in a situation whereby you imbibe knowledge into yourself, you collaborate with people, you find values, how to extract from people, how to learn from people. Knowledge is not complete when you're not sharing it. So it has to be shared by people. It has to be, you have to learn from others and learn from outside how things are being done in another terrain and inculcate it or imbibe it into the Nigerian system. That is what a lot of the GCC are doing. They are bringing scholars and expatriates from different parts of the world to enhance and strengthen their government or their educational system or their tourism industry or whatever industry they have in there. And they are thriving. Qatar happens to be, the country is less than 7 million people. as a whole, and they're thriving. And I'm very sure Nigeria has got enough natural resources than Qatar. But the only thing is, how do we manage our resources? How do we, when you're talking of resources, you're first of all talking about the people, because the people, the people happens to be the key value that transforms the other part of the resources, that strengthens any government or any economic system. So we need to, imbibe knowledge into ourselves as the people that will be transforming other part of resources, the land, the technology, and to mention a few. We need to also, collaborate. Let's know how things are being done in other parts of the world and inculcate it, bring those whatever into Nigeria and see our system developing.
And still ahead on the program, Professor Aluko discusses what Nigeria can do to strengthen its education and maritime sectors. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on the program. We continue our conversation with Professor Akinseye Aluko on leadership, innovation, and the importance of preparing the next generation to compete on a global stage.
Nigeria happens to be a very key factor and a key, let me use a very strong country when it comes to maritime. But we've been underplayed by the international waters, the international community, in the sense that Nigeria can actually produce or conveniently contribute to the system by, bringing up 7 million jobs in the maritime sector on a yearly basis. To be honest, we used to have Niger Dock, we used to have Snake Island, we used to have Oro used to be there, very effective back in the day. The reason why I went into maritime as a scholar was because I saw the beauty of maritime during my father's, activeness and service. I sailed with him, saw how things were being done at sea as a boy, and that actually, our papa was flourishing. Our papa flourished in so many ways. When you have ships come into the ports, when you see people that actually love and appreciate what they do, then there was Nigeria National Shipping Line. Then it was beautiful, and that actually kept and shaped my understanding and knowledge of becoming a maritime expert, not as a captain, not as a sailor, but trying to see myself managing the maritime sector, or probably, being part of expatriates that will see and contribute to the growth and development of the Nigerian maritime sector. And I went into academia. I went to the UK to study this. I researched on this. I published with a maritime executive number of times. I've contributed to the industry on a global perspective, and I'm still doing it. Last year, we had the first sea trade conference, and I was actively there in Qatar. And these are things I do because I understand that there's a possibility, and we still have it, that yes, the maritime industry can extremely be transformed in competing significantly with the international waters, whereby we will be recognized and placed where we are meant to be. Last year, we had the First Lady, the Nigerian First Lady in Qatar, and I was also part of the delegate that went to welcome her or to see her then, and we said it. The system cannot be done alone by the government. It cannot be overhauled enough by the government. There should be something called PPP, public partnership. There should be the contribution of you and I in contributing to the system, in developing and strengthening our educational sector, our industry, and likewise the maritime sector that I've always loved so much. I will never stop loving it, because I believe and I had that intuition that yes, the maritime sector in Nigeria can actually extremely perform. Look at what Aluko Dangote is doing in Nigeria, bringing back Nigerians' name on the oil and gas map, global map. It's something we should be rejoicing, but probably not get carried away too much, because there's still a lot to be done. So with that, the oil and gas sector and the Nigerian maritime industry can contribute, come together, and other, private parastatals come together, key stakeholders can come together in seeing to the growth and development and sustainability of these sectors, both the educational sector and the maritime sector, or oil and gas sector. I used to remember my days in East London as the executive program director for oil and gas management in the UK, in East London. It was fantastic. You will see Nigerians in their numbers coming to study oil and gas, basically because they know quite well that yes, the oil and gas sector in Nigeria should boom and should flourish. You understand? That is the thing. Knowledge transfer happens to be one of the key things too.
Beyond the impressive credentials and professional milestones lies a deeply personal story of resilience, purpose, and service. Professor Aluko opens up about the values, principles, and life lessons that have guided his journey, offering practical insights on leadership, character, and the responsibility of representing Nigeria with excellence on the global stage.
For me, as a person, to be honest, getting to the UK, I decided to, involve myself in different NGOs. When I was in the UK, I used to send used books to different parts of Africa. Then I registered an NGO organization. We sent books to the Gambia, some schools in the Gambia. We sent books to schools here in Nigeria. I was also part of a committee whereby we see to the. I actually personally paid for jam form for different students here in Nigeria. It became part of me because I was privileged. You understand? To go to school abroad, to, have my education in a foreign country that added value to me. And I need to see people also, giving people the opportunity to be able to do that. And I'm still part of different NGOs now. Even in Qatar, I happen to be a member, advisory board member of an organization in Qatar, which is Aluku, that happens to be a biotechnology organization, a startup. So it's not just about the money. How can you add your own expertise? How can you add your own expertise to the system? How can you give your commitment, your selflessness? But when you think about, what can I get from the system? How can the system favor me? At the end of the day, you will be empty. So that's been the only thing that has kept me going. I never forgot my Nigerian values. I still never forgot what I got from the UK. I've been able to synergize my Nigerian values and my UK understanding to life into, living appropriately in Qatar. And it has been fantastic. The people happens to be extremely awesome. The system happens to be very supportive. My organization happens to be, ready to support you as an employee and also as an expatriate. So this actually cuts across, and it came into play during the geopolitical crisis, and we saw it. And I won't lie to you, I'm very grateful for that. The values you had before leaving the shores of Nigeria does matters. How can you stick? Because you understand that your parents has given you the mantle, your parents have given you the baton for you to be a representative. Before you represent the country, you need to represent your own. So when you represent your home and also synergize the values you've gotten from Nigeria, taking that into the system in whatever part of the world you find yourself, definitely you won't go astray. But for those that have actually done otherwise, these are things that actually, deplete, or probably should I say, reduce us to nothing in the international waters. These are things that actually, soil our image as Nigerians. Because I won't lie to you, Nigerians all over the world are a lot of them are extremely educated. A lot of them don't go for less. They actually want to be at the top of whatever they do. When I had my son in the US, it was a Nigerian doctor that actually delivered my son. So you can see what we're talking about. Regardless of some minute few trying to tarnish the image of Nigeria, we still have a lot of them out there, a lot of expatriates that are actually contributing to the values of other countries. If you are able to bring all this value back home, not full-time. They might just be, bringing their resources, their expertise into the system to support the growth and development of our country of birth. Things will change. And we need to also counsel people. We need to sensitize people. You going out there as a Nigerian, you're not only representing your family, you're not only representing yourself, you're also an ambassador of the nation.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Diaspora Network. To watch this and previous episodes celebrating Nigerians around the world, visit channelstv.com or our YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Teniola Oyetayo. Thank you for watching.